One day, I stepped into my backyard and saw a flash of white zoom past me. What on earth was that? The white stood out starkly against the green grass. It was Snowball, a kitten who was lost and terrified. This little one was in rough shape, bright as a snowflake, but thin as a rail, with no cat mom in sight. I searched and searched for other white cats but found none. It's like he appeared out of thin air. Ironically, despite the food bowls always being full, it took me 3 months of gentle coaxing to convince him I meant no harm. Now, he's plump and content.
You won't believe where I found my cat, Bella. When I started working at a warehouse, I discovered a cat living near the loading dock. She was clearly very pregnant. It was bad enough for one cat to be living there, but I couldn't bear the thought of her kittens being born in such a rough environment. She was wary of people, but one of the security guards had been feeding her and could pet her. Determined to help, I brought a carrier to work. With the guard's help, we managed to coax her into it, and I took her home. Bella stepped out of the carrier, looked around, and seemed to decide I could rule this place. She warmed up to us almost immediately, understanding we were there to help. Less than a week later, Bella gave birth to 5 kittens. We found loving homes for 3 of them, but decided to keep the rest, including Bella. From a tough start to a warm home, Bella and her kittens are now thriving. You won't believe how I found my cat, Luna. She was discovered wandering around a parking lot and then given as a birthday gift to someone who wasn't really prepared to take care of a young kitten. Thankfully, they realized this early on and started looking for a new home for her. I had just lost my previous cat, a sweet 9-month-old, who slipped out and got lost. It was heartbreaking going from having a loving kitty around to an empty home. A good friend who heard about Luna's situation knew I needed some feline love back in my life and told me about her. I immediately jumped at the chance to adopt her. When I first saw Luna, she was tiny and frail, only about 2 months old and barely 2 pounds. She had the cutest pink nose and looked so delicate, like a little fairy. I was worried about her health and had to make sure she gained enough weight before starting her vaccinations. Now Luna is still small but healthy and full of life. She's got a big personality for such a little cat and is absolutely adored. From a parking lot to a loving home, she's my little Luna, and I couldn't be happier.
You won't believe where we found our girl, Whiskers. She came from a house that was a complete disaster, filled with trash and neglected animals. The police had to step in and rescue her. When we got her, she was in terrible shape, with a severe upper respiratory infection and a bad eye infection. If it had taken any longer to get her to the vet, she might not have made it. She was just 6 months old at the time. Then there's Leo, who was found by a construction worker after his mother had passed away. He was just a tiny kitten, barely surviving in the rubble of an old building. Both Whiskers and Leo came to us severely underweight and in desperate need of care. Now they're living the dream. They have toys galore, heated blankets for the cold days, cozy kitty beds, and even their own fireplace. Whiskers gets her medicine every day, and both of them enjoy the best kibble and plenty of treats. Their transformation has been incredible. Cats have stories too, and sometimes they have happy endings.
You won't believe how this rescue turned out. I found the most amazing cat from a post on the Facebook Marketplace. The owner, a kind elderly lady, was moving into a retirement home and couldn't take her beloved cat with her. She even offered to drive 2 hours to bring him to me. I paid a $40 rehoming fee, which seemed more than fair considering the effort she put into making sure he found a good home. He hadn't had much veterinary care, but I took care of that. And now he's perfectly healthy and the sweetest, most affectionate cat I could have asked for. He was 5 months old when I got him, and he'll be turning 4 next month. Follow for more rescue stories.